My name is Bob Quinn, as you heard. I usually don't go by doctor among normal folks. But before I get started, I did want to ask, do we have any representatives from Monsanto here? Don't be bashful. We won't hurt you. In fact, if any of you are here, we hope that you'll go back by the end of this week and tell your boss that the future is organic. And the sooner we all get there, the better it's all going to be. And if you want to join with us, we'll welcome you. We will. The whole food system that we're in the middle of right now reminds me a little bit of an experience I had a few years back interviewing some folks that came to me looking for a job, my farm. The two guys came, there's Pete and Joe, and I always like in my interviews to kind of give people hypothetical questions and see how they think under stress and maybe under crisis, because as you know, on a normal farm, every day there's something going wrong and you've got to think quick and be able to respond. So I said to Pete, Pete, what would you do if you were driving my semi fully loaded with lumber on the way home, and Joe was with you, and you topped a very large hill, and at the bottom of that hill you saw that there was a slow-moving freight train, and you just tapped on the brakes just a little bit, and they went out. You found you had no brakes. What would you do? He said, oh my gosh. He says, I would wake up Joe. He'd know what to do. And I said, oh, well, Joe is not going to wake up that easy. You're going to have to figure this out on yourself. And he says, okay. He says, I guess I just gear down. I said, oh, no, you're already going too fast. That's not going to work. And he said, oh, can't gear down. He says, I think I would, I know. He says, I would look for one of those escape places where you can escape with a runaway truck on the hillsides and be safe. And I said, well, unfortunately, there's not one of those on this particular hill, and you're picking up speed all the time. Now, what are you going to do? And he says, oh gosh, he says, Joe's asleep. I can't escape. There's no escape. There's no, I can't gear down. He says, I guess I just wake up Joe. He says, you know what? He's never seen a wreck like this before. And that's kind of the way I feel a little bit about where our food is going. The way we're going right now, we're heading for a wreck, and not just a little wreck, but a fairly substantial one. And that is because over the past few years, America has really been in a downward spiral on a quest for cheap and plentiful food. And because of this, our focus is on nothing but big yields, high efficiency, and trying to get as much food production industrialized in the industrialized model as possible, and really increase the amounts available to us as a nation. But what I'd like to talk to you about today is really the high cost of that cheap food and what has been the result of it. But before I do that, let me kind of explain a little bit of my background so you see where I get some of these ideas and the experiences I've had that has led me to the place where I am now. Everything I'm going to talk to you about is in the context of where I was born and raised, north central Montana. We're in the northern Great Plains. It's the next thing to a desert. We get 12 to 14 inches of rain a year. We can only grow a crop every other year because the second year we have to fallow to let the water collect so that we can grow a crop the next year. So it's very, very difficult. My grandfather started the farm and came to this area in 1920. The homesteaders were there about 4 or 5 years before. They had a great crop in 16, and then it didn't rain for 3 years. And most of them by 1920, over half, were leaving, just leaving the land for taxes. And people, the next wave then came in and bought or rented the land for taxes, and that's how they got started. That's how my grandfather got started. In 3 years, we'll celebrate the 100th anniversary of our farm. So he was one of the survivors, and my dad took over after him, and I took over after my dad, and it's been the family ever since. Now, I don't know how many of you know where Big Sandy, Montana is. It's not at the end. Oh, we got one. Oh, great. Well, for the rest of you, let me assure you, it's not at the end of the world. But we can see it from there. The population when I was growing up was 1,000. Now it's down to about 600. And so we were really excited a couple of years ago when a new business came to town. Two brothers came in. They put a nice big billboard at the end of Main Street on this nice remodeled empty store. And it said, here's what the sign said. The sign said in great big letters, Big Sandy Veterinary Clinic and Taxidermy. And then in very small letters it said, either way, you get your dog back. And I think that's a little bit of the attitude of our federal government in our food. Either way, we're going to get our biscuit back. And I'm going to explain to you as I go a little bit about why I say that.